Excuse me? Are y'all coming at us YouTubers? Hold on, wait a minute. Don't get too cute. Don't get too cute, because we could get real stupid with y'all if we want to. We got our own independent platforms where we can talk however we want, and y'all can't even talk how y'all want because y'all over there working for people. Wait a minute. Don't get mad at us because we over here doing our thing. We got to get into that. We got these people all over ESPN talking about the Indiana Fever are better without.
That's not just frustration. That's a content creator who just got publicly disrespected by the very media establishment he's been outperforming for months. And what triggered this response reveals a fundamental power struggle happening right now in WNBA coverage. Because while traditional sports media spent years ignoring this league, independent creators built audiences in the millions covering every controversial moment, every questionable coaching decision, every ratings milestone. They did the work. And now that the WNBA finally has mainstream attention thanks to one player, legacy media wants to reclaim control of the narrative. But there's a problem. They can't compete.
This is crazy, man. Courtesy of The Ringer by Sirat Sohi. Pardon me if I'm butchering your name, but if you taking shots, don't pardon me. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Here it says, entering its 30th season, the WNBA is finally aging out its long adolescence, although to be clear, it's been paying its own rent for a while now. Okay, if Caitlin Clark's rookie season in 2024 was a dry run for the W's adulthood, the real thing, the stars are brighter, the arenas are bigger, the league with new teams, Toronto, Portland, is getting bigger. The CBA impasse that threatened to impede the league's momentum was resolved at the buzzer with a new deal.
The Ringer. That's the publication that took the shot. And the writer, Sirat Sohi, didn't just critique independent creators. She dismissed them entirely with two words: YouTube slop. Think about that terminology for a second. Slop. That's what she called the content that millions of WNBA fans actively choose to watch instead of reading traditional sports media articles. This wasn't constructive criticism about journalism standards or fact-checking practices. This was contempt, and it came buried in an article about the league entering its 30th season, finally achieving financial independence, expanding to new markets, all positive developments. But somehow she found space to take a shot at the people who've been covering this league, when publications like The Ringer barely gave it attention. The specific context matters here. Sohi wrote that despite the insistence of YouTube slop, Fever coach Stephanie White is not a sleeper agent for the WNBA's old guard activated to cage Clark's most exciting qualities. She's mocking a legitimate concern that thousands of fans have expressed about White's offensive system requiring Caitlin Clark to play off-ball more than she did at Iowa.
This stuff she talking about. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Okay? Here she said, in bullet point number 3, okay? Playing off-ball will transform Caitlin Clark. Here it says, there are more technically proficient guitarists than Jimi Hendrix, but none of them had his imagination, feel, or penchant for risk-taking, which made his instrument seem less like an inanimate object and more like a living, evolving thing. Clark's the same way, a player whose logo range and playmaking feel have changed the very shape of the game. Okay, here it says, and no, despite the
Here's what makes that dismissal particularly galling. When Caitlin Clark was at Iowa, breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, generating unprecedented attention for women's college basketball, where was The Ringer's comprehensive coverage? When she entered the WNBA draft and became the most anticipated rookie in league history, which creators were producing daily content analyzing her impact? It wasn't legacy sports media working overtime. It was independent YouTubers. Channels like Angry Fan Sports, Ben Daniels, Black and White Sports, Mick Talks Hoops, Rachel Demita. They build audiences by showing up consistently, offering unfiltered perspectives, and actually engaging with what fans wanted to discuss. And those audiences aren't small. We're talking channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, videos regularly hitting 6 figures in views, comment sections with thousands of engaged fans debating every topic. That's not slop. That's a functioning media ecosystem that traditional outlets failed to create because they didn't take women's basketball seriously until it became financially impossible to ignore.
Shout out to all the independent content creators, YouTubers that been putting in work doing their thing. Shout out to Angry Fan Sports, Ben Daniels, Black and White Sports 2, Mick Talks Hoops, Rachel Demita. What are we talking about here? And many, many more. There's more. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Fly Hippie, Courtside, like it's people out here that's doing a thing. Don't start hating and taking shots at independent content creators because you can't do what we do. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. That's just how I feel about that. I ain't with all the slick shots and all that. Because the fact of the matter is, what this do let us know is y'all watching, y'all listening, y'all watching. You probably subscribe secretly. You probably subscribe to all of us. To all of us.
But let's address the elephant in the room. Why is legacy media suddenly so defensive about independent creators? Because the business model is collapsing. Traditional sports journalism used to have a monopoly on access. If you wanted expert analysis, insider information, or comprehensive coverage, you had to go through established media outlets. They controlled the credentials, the locker room access, the press conferences, the relationships with teams and players. That monopoly is dead. Independent creators don't need credentials to analyze publicly available game footage. They don't need team access to discuss coaching decisions or roster construction. They don't need insider relationships to report on ratings numbers, salary cap situations, or social media controversies. All of that information is public. And what creators do have is something legacy media desperately lacks: trust with their audience. When a YouTuber says Stephanie White's offensive system isn't maximizing Caitlin Clark's talents, fans know that opinion isn't filtered through team PR departments or league office pressure. When a creator criticizes the WNBA's scheduling decisions or questions why certain players get preferential treatment from officials, there's no corporate sponsor relationship to protect. That independence has value, and traditional media can't compete with it while maintaining their access-dependent business model.
Today, don't be over here taking shots at content creators when you can't get busy like we do. And don't like, stop it. I ain't trying to hear all that, man. Caitlin Clark don't need to be off the ball. She need the ball in her hands, and it's as simple as that. Now we got to get to this, man. WNBA hoop streams. I believe this was on.
Honestly, the Indiana Fever.
Pardon. I believe this was on ESPN. I think this was on ESPN. If it wasn't, pardon me. But let's take a listen to this nonsense that this young lady had to spew, man. I don't even know how some of these people get a platform.
Honestly, the Indiana Fever played some of their best team basketball without Caitlin Clark, and that's because she's like the sun that offense kind of orbits around. The ball is constantly in her hands, which just made their offense extremely easy to guard.
So it made the offense extremely easy to guard. So her rookie season, when they were second in the league in scoring post-Olympic break, they were scoring 100-some points damn near every other game. Was it easy to guard? No, it wasn't. Stop it, girl.
Now let's talk about the specific claim that triggered this entire response. Another media personality, appearing on what appears to be an ESPN or Bleacher Report show, argued that the Indiana Fever played better team basketball without Caitlin Clark. Her exact words: "She's like the sun that the offense kind of orbits around. The ball is constantly in her hands, which made it extremely easy to guard." And then she claimed that without Clark in the lineup, Stephanie White had to diversify the offense, which made them harder to guard. This is where YouTube creators earned their audiences, because that analysis is demonstrably false, and it takes about 30 seconds of research to prove it. During Caitlin Clark's rookie season, post-Olympic break, the Indiana Fever ranked second in the league in scoring. They were regularly putting up over 100 points. The offense wasn't easy to guard. It was one of the most efficient in the league. Kelsey Mitchell had a career year playing alongside Clark, not despite her. Aaliyah Boston's numbers improved dramatically when Clark was facilitating. Lexi Hull became a legitimate three-point threat because Clark's gravity created open looks. And here's the kicker. During games last season when Clark sat for extended minutes, the Fever's offense collapsed. There were quarters where they scored 6 points. 6. That's not better team basketball. That's an offense with no functional playmaker struggling to generate any quality shots.
You're saying what they're telling you to say. You are saying what they're telling you to say. What are you talking about? What? Somebody unplug this girl's mic.
Now, without her in the lineup, Stephanie White had to decide who else was going to get in the mix.
First of all, there were games last year when Caitlin Clark was out where the Indiana Fever scored 6 points in a damn quarter. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
And their offense became so much more diverse. We saw Kelly Mitchell having a tremendous season. Lexi Hull got in the fold. Aaliyah Boston, another dominant season.
All of them played well post-Olympic break with Caitlin Clark. What are you talking about? Kelsey Mitchell was scoring the same amount of points post-Olympic break as she was scoring last season. What are you talking about, girl? These people just get microphones and just say anything, man. They just say anything, man. It's so ridiculous.
Season, but all because they had to do it without Caitlin Clark, and that made their offense extremely hard to guard.
Get her off the damn TV, man. Get her off the TV, man. These are some of the goofies y'all got on TV.
So why would a media personality make such an easily disprovable claim on a major sports network? Because the narrative matters more than the facts. There's been a coordinated effort since before Caitlin Clark even entered the league to diminish her impact, to credit team success to everyone except her, to frame any offensive system built around her talents as somehow limiting rather than maximizing the roster's potential. And independent creators keep calling it out. They pull up the actual statistics. They show the game footage. They demonstrate with evidence that the emperor has no clothes. That's what legacy media calls slop. Fact-checking with receipts. This isn't about journalism standards. If it were, we'd be having conversations about verification processes, source attribution, ethical guidelines for commentary. Instead, we get dismissive insults, YouTube slop. As if the platform determines the quality rather than the content itself. As if millions of viewers are just too unsophisticated to recognize credible analysis when they see it. The reality is that independent creators have been outworking, out-hustling, and outperforming traditional WNBA media for years. They built this audience from nothing, and now that the league finally has mainstream attention, legacy media wants to delegitimize the competition, rather than earn viewers back through better work.
It's crazy. Listen, the Indiana Fever 1000% are not better without Caitlin Clark. They're not half as good without Caitlin Clark. A blind man can see that. That's just the facts, man. But yeah, all these WNBA media is disgusting right now, man. They taking shots at the independent creators because we the ones that got it popping and we the ones that got it lit. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting these channels.
Here's what this moment represents. It's not just one writer taking a shot at YouTubers. It's a recognition that the old media gatekeepers have lost control of the narrative. They can't dictate what fans are allowed to discuss anymore. They can't dismiss legitimate criticisms as uninformed hot takes when creators are backing up their arguments with statistics, film breakdowns, and historical context. And the league itself has to be watching this tension carefully. Because independent creators didn't just cover the WNBA. They helped build the current audience. They kept Caitlin Clark's story alive during her college career. They generated excitement for her rookie season. They documented every controversial moment, every coaching decision, every ratings milestone. They did that work for free, driven by genuine interest in the sport and the business opportunity of serving an underserved audience.
Watch me. If there's somebody else out there that you support and you watch, salute to you, because these people they don't like us, y'all. They mad that we have a voice. They mad that we speak for the fans. They don't like that. Get down in the comments. Let me know what you think. This Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.
Now, traditional media wants to reclaim that audience without acknowledging the work independent creators put in. They want the credibility that comes from institutional backing without the accountability that comes from direct audience relationships. They want to be taken seriously as WNBA experts, despite years of minimal coverage. And when creators push back, when they defend their work and their audiences, legacy media responds with contempt. YouTube slop. As if the label alone discredits everything. But here's the thing about independent media in 2025. The audience decides what has value. Not editors at major publications, not producers at sports networks, not league PR departments managing access. The fans vote with their views, their subscriptions, their engagement. And right now, they're choosing independent creators at a rate that clearly threatens traditional media enough to provoke public attacks. So where does this go from here? Because this tension isn't resolving itself. If anything, it's accelerating as the WNBA continues to grow. You've got expansion teams coming to Portland and Toronto. You've got a new CBA that increased player salaries sevenfold, with maximum contracts now exceeding $1 million. You've got charter flights, better facilities, increased investment from team owners. The league is professionalizing rapidly. And as it does, the question of who controls the narrative becomes more important. Does the league align itself with traditional media outlets that have institutional credibility but limited audience trust? Or does it embrace independent creators who have massive engaged audiences but no corporate infrastructure? Because right now, the WNBA is trying to play both sides. They credential legacy media for official access, while simultaneously courting influencers and content creators for social media reach. That strategy works until traditional media starts openly attacking the creators. Until you have publications like The Ringer dismissing YouTube coverage as slop while expecting the league to take their analysis seriously. Until you have network analysts making demonstrably false claims about player impact without any pushback from official sources. Independent creators aren't going anywhere. They've built sustainable businesses covering this league. They have loyal audiences who trust their perspectives. They've proven they can generate millions of views discussing WNBA topics that traditional media said nobody cared about. And most importantly, they're not dependent on league access to do their work. They can criticize coaching decisions, question front office moves, analyze media coverage, and discuss controversial topics without worrying about losing credentials or damaging relationships with team PR staff. That independence is exactly what threatens legacy media. Because once fans realize they can get more honest, more detailed, more engaging coverage from independent creators, why would they go back to sanitized press releases and access journalism? Why would they trust analysts who can't even accurately describe what happened in games they supposedly watched? The answer is they wouldn't, and they haven't. The viewership numbers prove it. The engagement metrics prove it. The fact that a writer at The Ringer felt compelled to take a shot at YouTube creators in an article about the WNBA's 30th season proves it. You don't attack something unless it threatens you. So to every independent creator who's been grinding, putting out daily content, building an audience, analyzing games, breaking down statistics, engaging with fans in the comments, you won. You built something valuable enough that legacy media feels threatened. You created content compelling enough that millions of people choose to watch it instead of reading traditional sports journalism. You did the work when nobody else would. And to the traditional media outlets taking shots, compete better, produce better analysis, build more engaged audiences. Earn trust instead of demanding it based on institutional credibility alone. Because dismissing independent creators as slop, while failing to match their work ethic, their engagement, or their audience growth, isn't journalism. It's just insecurity. The WNBA's growth story isn't just about Caitlin Clark's impact, or the new CBA or expansion teams. It's also about who gets to tell that story. And right now, independent creators are winning that battle. Not because they have better access, or bigger budgets, or institutional backing, but because they showed up, did the work, and built audiences that actually trust them. That's not slop. That's the future of sports media. And legacy outlets can either adapt or keep throwing insults while their audience continues to shrink. So what do you think? Are independent creators actually providing valuable WNBA coverage? Or is traditional media right to dismiss YouTube analysis as low-quality content? Because this isn't just an abstract debate about journalism. This is about who you trust to give you honest analysis about this league. Drop your perspective in the comments. And if you've been following any independent WNBA creators, shout them out. Let's show exactly how big this community actually is.